US. As at the end of last year, it was estimated to be anywhere between 3.6 and 4.5 billion. That's the African market, not Nigeria. But who is the largest player in the African market for anything? So, as the lawyers amongst us will say, I put it to you, what piece of that action are you going to get? I put it to each and every professional, what business opportunity is here? Let's give one example. How many of us either have, know, either nephews, nieces, cousins, neighbors' children that are in the range of about 10 years old? Anybody? Only one person? Everywhere. Okay, thank you. Can you tell me, sir, have you ever given them your phone or tablet? You have. What did they do with it? Wonderful things. Huh? So, as the lawyers would say, I put it to you. Who is teaching those kids how to be safe? That's a business opportunity. That's my point. So, of course, government, if we are getting a piece of that action, what piece of the taxes are you going to get? So, this can create jobs, generate wealth, and generate taxes. So let's not look at cybersecurity necessarily as problem. We need, frankly, ladies and gentlemen, okay, before I say it, let me ask a question. How many of us, after a long day, you know Lagos traffic is not easy. You get home, you get to your door, you put your hand in your pocket, no kokoro. Your key is lost. Has it happened to any of you before? What do you have to do? Destroy it. Well, what I would do, what I have done, is that I will call a carpenter. And what does the carpenter do? Yes, but he uses his knowledge and his tools to open the door in such a way and fix it. That's hacking. So, ladies and gentlemen, it has happened to me before. After a long day, I get home, I put my hand in my pocket, and I have my kokoro. But guess what? My door is already open. I've been hacked. But you see, ladies and gentlemen, NCS needs to drive the development of indigenous hackers. There's a cybersecurity problem. Must we go to Washington, London, Singapore for the solution sets? Must we go there for the expertise? We can't do it ourselves. Many of you have read stories where the foreign guy comes, they build a headquarters for the African Union in Addis Ababa, and they hack it from design. Back to Mama Alakara, it's about design. I'm sure if it had been an indigenous African contractor, he may not necessarily have done that. Not impossible, but this is my point. We need our own cadre of solution providers. So, it is 2020, so this my aspiration has to change. And unfortunately for us in Nigeria, we keep pushing it back. But I put it like this to tell you that this is something I've been struggling with 7, 10 years. Let us develop a cybersecurity solutions ecosystem where young ladies and young men can be gainfully employed and pay tax by providing those, whether it is to that child, whether it is access management and control, whether it is firewall, whether it is predictive analysis using AI, the market is there. Who says you can only sell to Africa? Can you press one more? So, ladies and gentlemen, I have the confidence that together we can succeed. But I will say that in order to succeed, we must understand that the people who are going to drive this sector, in the main, are going to be below 35 years of age. Some would say that is the Yahoo range. I would rather they be constructive. There's another problem. You train these people, they will leave the country. Ladies and gentlemen, I would rather skilled Nigerians go to Europe and America and send home remittances from good jobs. You know that remittances today brings in more income than oil, don't you? Is it not better for them to be there, doing something honorable, sending money back home? And guess what? Like India, they will eventually come back and establish and will still move. But if you send agberos and cleaners and drivers and people who can hardly read or write, you that are legitimate with your green passport, will you not be embarrassed? So these are the things I would like us to think about. And I said, this is why we are doing it. Not for us, but for the next generation. Thank you very much.
Please, round of applause for him again. That's too small. That's too small. Round of applause for him. We want to appreciate him. Let me just hand over to the moderator immediately because of our time. You have your seat again. Let him moderate. Let the professor moderate for you. You can sit down as well. You can sit down as well. So, I know they won't, nobody will break. We have the IG here. So.
Thank you so much. Once again, please let's give a round of applause to our able presenter. He's a known face. I think when you don't call his name, when you say cybersecurity, they will think probably maybe it's Blakim Ajibola. So if we have this stakeholder meeting without him, I think it's technically incomplete. So on behalf of my president and the entire Nigerian Computer Society, NEC and members, we appreciate you. And it's a collective responsibility of every one of us. The expert cannot do it alone. NCS cannot do it alone. But I think we have to partner in this important bid to save our country from, because of course we have keyed into global practice in terms of adopting technology. So we should not also be left behind in providing a enabling environment and secured environment for our assets in the cyberspace. And I want to, on that grad, I can see that Nigerians, when we go abroad, so many people talk negatively about this country. And that is why it's like we are professing. I think from the message by our presenter, it's like we seem not to see good things from cybersecurity. So it's bringing a lot of opportunities. I have some of my PhD students that if not for the challenges, they won't have a PhD. So is that not an opportunity? They are exploring. And we can also create a lot of jobs from that. I think it's been emphasized. On this note, without getting us bored, I want to introduce again our discussion, which they are sourced from relevant sectors, the public, the private, and also we have CSP, Kayode Emmanuel, representing the Inspector General of Police. So we are secured here. Even if you don't see policemen at the entrance, you know we have the IG with us. So I think you are going to take note of what we are discussing there, because the presenter has said it all, that the perspective of cybersecurity differ from that of National Security Agency, because you keep information for your advantage. In cybersecurity, we want to promote sharing of information, but not allow that culture of sharing to affect the integrity, the three fundamental metrics: the integrity, the availability, and all other things that has to do with information security. So I think that means we have to, security should not be looked into from just that myopic perspective of information should be kept and should not be diverged, because not diverging in cybersecurity is also a crime, because we want to promote sharing of information and resources. So we need to harmonize. And I think the message of having a separate regulatory body, having a subsector, also borders around this need that, of course, police alone cannot deliver a cyber-secured Nigeria. Of course, we are going to work together because the mandate differs in a way. And I think the message is also well communicated. Please, I want you to take note of areas that affect Nigerian police, and that's why I'm re-emphasizing in a way. So you are welcome, sir. So we also have in our midst, please a round of applause for the IG. When we introduce the Inspector General of Police and you are not clapping, I don't know, I'm not there. We have also in our midst Adeoluwa Ogunwale from Nigerian Interbank Settlements, Wale Ogunwale from Interbank Settlements. You see, you are doing transfer from GT to UBA, you are doing a lot of transactions, you are paying with a POS, and it's going to somebody's account. So they are the one making the transaction secured. Probably maybe you also chip in one or two things in terms of challenges they face and they are at their own level in getting these services accessible to Nigerians. You're welcome. So we also have in our Maris Boglo AP from Catecom, Nigeria. That's from also IT industry. We also have Elizabeth Ikyo. Please, you pardon because I'm a typical Nigerian. I think I'm okay. From National Mathematical Center, Abuja. We have, lastly, Bolali Omotosho from Data Recovery Specialists Limited, also from the industry. And lastly, we have our own Oluwaseun Bamigboye from Napier University, a cybersecurity PhD candidate of that university, and also one of the enablers of this event. We will appreciate you. You're welcome. So we are going to give just 2 minutes to each of the discussants. Then we're going to wrap it up from there. So I'm going to start from the IGP because please, he's going to tell us the experience from the Nigerian police angle and what efforts, what are the challenges, because they must have seen a lot of cases, cyber crimes and all that, and what's the opinion and what should be our take-home in this stakeholder meeting from Nigerian police. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I have the privilege to represent my Inspector General of Police, IGP Adamu Mohammed. So I want to thank you very much for this opportunity. Yes, the topic is very clear. And the aspect Nigerian police will come in properly into this important discourse we have has to do with enforcement. There are laws. In fact, cybercrime law is also very clear. And something has been mentioned earlier here, that cybercrime are committed at the speed of light, but getting the law operates at a very snail speed to ensure effective enforcement. Our Nigerian police is challenged. Let's face the reality. And some of these challenges are taken care of in terms of infrastructure we have. We have a standardized ICT department being headed by the Deputy Inspector General of Police. And that department has now relented in making sure that we're able to cope with these challenges. And more often than not, you must have been following the trend. In some of the areas we have been able to achieve moderately in terms of terrorism, kidnapping, and other heinous crime. And the synergy between the department and some other setup we have, like the Intelligent Response Unit, and that unit in particular has recorded modest successes in terms of rescuing kidnapped victims. And these, like others, armed robbery, what have you, heinous crime, we have been able to use the technology to a reasonable advantage. But much can still be achieved. And in the area of our laws that we need to actually improve on them, and cooperating with society like you, like yours, I cannot tell here to what extent that synergies has been taken care of, but to the best of my knowledge, the ICT department is working day and night to ensure that with all these areas are taken care of. Cybersecurity is important to us as a nation, and behind